Sawasdee krab. Good afternoon. I'm Chalee. My session is the last session, so I try to be punctual, okay? Because the topic is about PDPA, or Personal Data Protection Act. It is different from the rest of the sessions today that is about cyber security 100%. But my session will be about data privacy, and I try to connect data privacy to cyber security. And let's see how to connect privacy to security. Let me introduce again, I'm Chalee. I work for NECTEC, a research center. But before this, 2 years ago, I worked for Personal Data Protection Commission or Committee Office, and it is about regulatory office of PDPC. So today, I try to share with you my experience on how to implement PDPA in your organization. Yeah, I have another role. I am a Data Protection Officer, or DPO, at NASDA, NSTDA. NECTEC is under NASDA, okay? All right, why PDPA? Do you think PDPA is burden or not? Who believes it is burden? Or it is something to help you? Is it helper or burden? It depends on how you interpret. Okay, first, we have PDPA because we need to share data. You know, we have to share data by default, but we have to share data with a secure way and to protect personal data. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that you have PDPA and you have to close the data by default. No, it is not the point that PDPA want to aim. The thing is, PDPA doesn't lock down data, but you have to share data. You have to enable trust, all right? Also, we have to think about cybersecurity because you are free to share data, maybe by law or by open data policy. Because if you work for government sectors, I think here some of you may work for government sectors, you have to share data. Yes, you can share, but you have to think about cybersecurity and think about privacy law or privacy policy, okay? We protect right, not restrict process. It means that you have to protect right, and your process should not be changed too much. So in this statement, showing you that PDPA is not a burden. Okay, next, data privacy versus data security. Do you think both terms are the same or different? Different. Data privacy is like terms of use. You can say you can share this data, you cannot, who have an access or not. Policy, regulation. So everything about this will be data privacy, like terms of use. But data security is more technical. It is a way to protect data. So we have this statement. We can have security without privacy, but we can't have privacy without security. Because you need to have privacy. You have regulation, you have policy, but if you don't have security tool, you don't have good security practice, you don't have multi-factor authentication, you don't have privacy at all. All right, so this statement is very important when you implement PDPA in country. Okay, why I have to show you this slide? Because this slide is like a fundamental of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is divided into three maybe pillars or three important things: confidentiality, availability, and integrity. When we talk about data privacy or PDPA, do you think which one is the most relevant? Yeah, it should be confidentiality, right? Because confidentiality is something about you have to allow only authorized person to get an access. It is confidentiality. Okay. All of us understand confidentiality is the most important things in cybersecurity and data privacy. How about the second one? You know what is it? On the right-hand side, it is NIST Cybersecurity Framework. I show you this slide because today, when we work on PDPA, you should not think only on the left-hand side, but you also need to mention NIST, because NIST framework today, they emphasize the importance of, you see, respond and recover. What is it? Because for traditional mindset of cybersecurity, people give importance in protection and detection. But people overlook when incident occurs. Because even you have good protection, incidents or hacker can hack your system anyway. For example, ransomware. I think most of you have experience on ransomware in your organization, right? Disaster. No one can avoid natural disaster, right? So any incidents can occur. Also, PDPA or data breach can happen anytime, even if you have good protection. So if it happens, you need to have practice to do respond. So how to respond in terms of PDPA? Okay, let's see the next slide. I'm not sure if you are familiar with this screen. Many people mention or make a complaint that PDPA or PDPC, PDPA, do nothing with the incident. But last year, Thailand, we had the first enforcement action, first legal action in PDPA. Sorry if I anonymize the company name, but I think all of you already know. This case, there are three main issues, three main concerns why these companies has an issue. First, they failed to appoint a DPO. DPO is Data Protection Officer by law. Okay, it is not about technical issues. Okay, let me move on to the second one. They have inadequate security practice, or they have lack of good security. And the last one, fail to report data breaches. So the last two is very important. They are about cybersecurity practice because they have no security practice. You see, even you claim you have PDPA, but if you don't have good access control, you don't have multi-factor authentication, it is your fault, all right? And the last one, I mentioned this because once incident occurs, what you have to do is you have to know what to do next. It is like a contingency plan or like procedure that you know what you have to do if something happens. So in PDPA, if data in your organization are breached, what you have to do? By law, you have to investigate and report to the regulator within how many hours? Within how many hours? Not 24, it is too early. 72 hours. So if you have already checked and your investigation is complete, you have to report your incident to regulator or PDPC within 72 hours. But all of this, the company failed to do that, so the case would be very famous in Thailand, okay? Okay, I forget to tell you, actually you don't need to report any cases, but if once you analyze and you believe that the case has high risk and has impact to stakeholders, you need to report. Otherwise, you just do nothing. You don't need to report, okay? Let's move to, maybe could be the last slide. I just want to show you some emerging technologies or the practice about PDPA and cybersecurity that you need to consider and take into account today. Many people ask me what we should study in terms of cybersecurity technology in order to comply with PDPC, PDPA. Okay, I just summarize in this slide. And the first one is data anonymization. You just anonymize the data, right? So when you share data, because you have freedom to share data, if you have permission, all right, or if you have consent, when you share, you have to make sure if this data you need to share 100% or not, or just blur it, or just anonymize it. I will show an example in the next slide, okay? The next one is privacy-enhancing technology. It is technology to make the data more private. For example, it's encryption. Okay, I think when we talk about encryption, you understand. And the next one is just like a basic cyber hygiene and access control, or MFA, multi-factor authentication. And the next one is security testing. So I don't explain you more. And data classification. It's like we know ourselves because we have to classify data in advance. If this data is personal or not, this data has risk, high risk or low risk. Because if you don't classify data, you don't know what to protect. You know, the most important things of cybersecurity is you need to know your information asset or data asset. Because otherwise, if you don't know your asset, you don't know what to protect, all right? So if you don't know what to protect, you cannot implement cybersecurity, okay? The next one is audit logging and incident response. As I mentioned previously about the way to respond in case incident happens. So just to make sure that incident can happen anytime and you have to have good procedure how to do next. The last one is emerging technology, post-quantum cryptography. Because in the near future, when we have quantum computing in the real environment or for home use or something like that, quantum computing can hack the existing cryptography algorithm today. So we have to be ready, have good readiness in advance that the new algorithm cannot hack your system. So you have to change the way to encrypt the data. I will show you later. All right. Okay, my next slide will be about the example of anonymization. I'm sorry if it look a mess, okay? Just example, you want to share this kind of data. For example, it is data of customers at a shop. Okay, I want to share this data, maybe share with vendor to do something, to analyze something. We cannot share this 100% because this contains personal data. So what we have to do is to analyze like this. On the left-hand side is member ID. We just make mask data, do data masking. We mask from back, right? Like your credit card. When you pay by credit card, you can see data masking, okay? And this one, it is real name. We just pseudonymize, just fake the data, okay? And this one, data masking also. And this one, like you see, date of birth could be personal data, 1970. We just make it as to be a ranking, to a range for 10 years to 1970 to 1979, and something like this. So if this data is breached, no one can guess who. Okay, like gender, we use technique of data swapping. We just swap data. Okay, it is similar to size and member interest and contact preference. We just swap data, so no one can address who. And this one, spans, you can see data we just use as some noise. We call data perturbation. We just add 10% of this, so this will be the data added by 10%. This is just an example, and we used to do that. Okay, and my last slide, I just mentioned about PQC, that encryption algorithm today, maybe it is not enough. In the future, PQC, we need to have readiness, because we have to believe in this statement. We harvest now, no, not we, hacker harvest now, decrypt later. Even algorithm today is good, but the hacker, they don't mind. They just hack your data. And 10 years later, they just decrypt at the time using a new algorithm. So be ready. Don't mind if quantum computing will come today, but you have to prepare in advance. Thank you very much. Feel free to add my LinkedIn here.
Thank you.